6 long years. It's been 6 long years since I've lost contact with my family. The one thing I did not expect was for them to hit me up out of the blue, wanting me to represent my sister since I'm a lawyer and now they need my help. Guys, I'm not gonna do it. My sister has made fun of me for every single part of my life. She called me skinny, a waste of space, and, well, just more and more stuff. Why would I help her? And you know what? They're not only asking, they have the audacity to demand it. So here's what I'm gonna do. Do you ever feel like life handed you the wrong family? Like there was some cosmic mix-up and you ended up with the villains instead of the heroes? That's how I've always felt growing up in the shadow of my sister Sasha, the golden child. It's not like I'm here to play victim, no, I'm just stating facts. For as long as I can remember, Sasha was the queen bee, and I was, well, as scrawny, awkward girl with a target on her back. Sasha had this effortlessly beautiful, plump, pretty embodiment of a spoiled brat, and I, on the other hand, was all angles and bones and lanky like some awkward crane, and constantly reminded of it. School was a battlefield, and I was the enemy everyone loved to hate. The bully showed me into boys' locker rooms, yanked my underwear into humiliating wedges, and laughed as I scrambled to escape their torment. Guess who led the charge? Sasha. Yes, my dear sister. Reporting her to our teachers, it didn't help. Oh no, it made things worse, see. Sure, Sasha got detention, but she went home crocodile tears and all to tell our parents that I was a snitch. My mom would call me a tattletale. My dad would say, "We don't betray family." And then they would dole out punishment that made detention look like a spa day. I'd be thrown into our old musty basement, rats everywhere scurrying around, I could hear them, cobwebs sticking to my hair, the cold biting into my skin and grounded for days. You would think I hate Sasha, right? Hate my parents, but I didn't. I just bore it all, and I thought if I can survive this, maybe they'll love me someday. But that day never came. High school was the pinnacle of my misery. Prom season rolled around, and while Sasha basked in the attention of multiple admirers, I sat on the sideline hoping, praying that somebody, anybody, would ask me. Enter Fat Joe. He wasn't exactly Prince Charming, but when he asked me to prom, I said yes. Desperation? Maybe. But for a moment, I felt seen. On prom night, I waited and waited, but Fat Joe never showed. My stomach sank as the realization hit me. I'd been stood up. Sasha saw this as her golden opportunity to twist the knife. See, she went live on social, mocking me in real time, calling me a loser for everyone to see, and then she distributed eggs to her minions, and they pelted me like I was some kind of carnival game. Something inside me snapped, and I lunged at Sasha, fist flying, but she overpowered me. Turns out being a skinny eel doesn't exactly prepare you for a fist fight. I went home battered and bruised, expecting some semblance of sympathy from my parents, but instead they dismissed me like I was invisible. 2 years passed. 2 long, grueling years. I buried myself in my studies, determined to escape the hellhole of a household. When I won the award for Best Student of the semester, I thought, well, this is it. This is my moment. I brought the award to a family gathering, hoping, stupidly, that my parents would be proud of me. Instead, Sasha humiliated me. She stood up in front of everyone, called me a loser, and laughed about how the only fat I had was in my brain. And even that was drying up because I simply read too much. Well, the room erupted in laughter, and my parents included, and I felt my face burn with shame and anger. Before I knew it, my hand flew across her face. The sound of the slap echoed, and for a split second, there was silence. Then my mom slapped me back, and that was the final straw. I packed my things up and left that night. Disowned, unbothered, or so I told myself. It's been 6 years, and I haven't seen my parents or sister. I blocked all their contacts and emails, and while they blocked me first, here I am, sitting in my huge apartment, reliving the chaos of my past. I've tried to move on, but the scars, emotional and physical, they run deep. Sasha's voice still echoes in my head with her insults painful. My parents' laughter haunts me, but here's the thing, I'm not the same girl I was back then. I've built a life for myself, and I have friends who see me for who I am, not who they want me to be. I've accomplished things I never thought possible, yet every time I think I've escaped the shadow of my family, something drags me back. Last week, it happened again. I was scrolling through social, minding my business, when I stumbled upon a post from Sasha. See, she was throwing a lavish party, balloons, champagne, 9 yards, right? The caption read, celebrating my promotion. Guess hard work and beauty do pay off. The nerve. I shouldn't have cared, I shouldn't have clicked on the comments, but I did. And there it was, a flood of praises, likes, and shares. People worshipped her like she was some goddess, completely oblivious to the monster beneath the surface. But then I saw something else, a video. It was from one of the party guests, and in the background you could hear Sasha drunkenly bragging about how she made Evelyn's life a living hell. She laughed about the prom incident, the eggs, the fights, and she even admitted to sabotaging my chance at a scholarship by hacking into my email and sending a rejection letter to the university on my behalf. My blood boiled. I wanted to scream to expose her, to let the world see her for who she really is. But instead I froze. The same fear, the same helplessness I felt as a child came rushing back. And that's when I realized I'm still letting her win. So here I am, writing this, laying it all bare. Part of me wonders if I should post this online and let the whole world know the truth about Sasha and my parents. But another part of me hesitates. Would it even make a difference? Would anyone believe me, or would they see me as the bitter sister trying to tear down the perfect Sasha? And then there's the bit that I wasn't expecting. Yesterday I get a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. On the end was a man who introduced himself as a private investigator. He claimed to have information about family secrets that could change everything. I thought I knew. He wouldn't say much over the phone, just that he needed to meet in person. He sounded urgent, almost desperate, and now I'm left with, a choice. Do I meet him, or do I let sleeping dogs lie? What were you going to do if you found yourself in my shoes? I'll be back for an update. Update number 1. 1 day later. So here I am, 6 years of blood, sweat, and tears later, sitting at the top of my game in law and management. I clawed my way up to this point, juggling late nights and self-doubt and endless caffeine-fueled study sessions. I worked myself relentlessly, inside and out, yet life and all its twisted irony decides to throw me a curveball I never saw coming. And honestly, I don't know whether to laugh, cry, or just set something on fire. The day started off innocent enough. A casual meeting with the private investigator whom I said sent me a message. Imagine my surprise when the man who walked in was not the stereotypical middle-aged guy in a trench coat, but a ridiculously good-looking version of Fat Joe. Yes, that Fat Joe, my prom nightmare. Except he's not fat anymore. Josh, as he's now known, and insisted I call him that, is practically sculpted by the gods. Broad shoulders, piercing eyes, and the kind of jawline that's cut glass, baby. And me, well, let's just say I'm no longer the waifish teenager I once was. Let's see. Life's been generous with curves, and I've learned to embrace them, but standing in front of Josh felt like a cruel twist of fate. Josh wasted no time dropping a bombshell. He apologized genuinely and with so much remorse that it caught me off guard. He confessed why he stood me up from prom all those years ago. My sister. Yep, of course it was my sister. Apparently she and her pack of mean girl minions locked him in the girls' locker room, gave him a humiliating wedgie, and left him there until he was rescued hours later. Hours? Can you imagine? That kind of public humiliation scarred him so deeply that he had to leave school entirely. He told me he wanted to go to prom with me more than anything, but never got the chance. At that moment, I felt a pang of guilt. Not for what I did, but for being so blinded by my own teenage heartbreak that I never considered there might have been more to the story. I apologized. Not that it would erase the trauma, but because it felt like the right thing to do. It's all in the past now, I said, hoping to move on. Oh, how wrong I was. Because then Josh, my former prom ghost, turned stunning investigator, dropped the real bombshell. He wasn't there just to reminisce about high school or rekindle some long-lost connection. No, he was there to warn me. Apparently my sister, the same one who orchestrated his locker room humiliation, is knee-deep in criminal enterprise. Drug shipping, to be precise. And not just a little smuggling here and there. Oh no, we're talking full-blown international crime syndicate vibe. The authorities are closing in and they're ready to take down everybody involved, including my own parents, who seem to be complicit. Oh, but it does not stop there. Guess who else they're planning to drag down with me? Me. Why? Because I share the same darn last name. That's it. That's the whole reason. The family name I've worked so hard to distance myself from is now the thing tightening around my neck. And trust me, I have zero connection to their shady little dealings. I've been too busy building my own life, on my own, far away from a toxic chaos, but in the eyes of the law, or at least in the eyes of whoever's building the case, blood is thick. Much more than water and guilt, and it seems it's hereditary. Josh, bless his gorgeous, chiseled little heart, assured me he doesn't believe I'm involved. He's seen my record, my achievements, and knows I'm clean as they come, baby. But the evidence against my sister and parents is darning. And if they're going down, they'll do whatever it takes to drag me with them. Collateral damage, he called it. I don't even know how to go about processing this. I mean, on one hand, I'm furious. Furious at my sister for her recklessness, my parents for the complicity, and the universe for thinking I deserve this level of drama after everything I've been through. On the other hand, I'm terrified. Terrified of losing everything I've worked so hard for, of being labeled something I'm not, of seeing my name splashed across headlines for all the wrong reasons. I can't even confront my family about it. Josh made it clear that tipping them off could compromise the investigation and land me in even deeper trouble. So now I'm stuck playing the waiting game, trying to figure out my next move while pretending everything's fine. But let me tell you, everything is not fine. My life feels like a house of cards, and one wrong move could send it all crashing down. I could already hear the whispers, the gossip, and I knew that she was too good to be true. Comments from people who had been waiting for me to fail. So what do? Do I lawyer up, fight this head on, or do I distance myself from family completely and hope the authorities see the truth? Or do I dig into this mess myself and expose the real culprits before they can ruin me? Because here's the thing. I'm not going down without a fight. If my family wants to drag me into their chaos, they better be ready for the storm I'll bring. And as for my sister, well, she better hope we don't cross paths anytime soon, because I have a lot to say to her and none of it is nice. Update number 2. 3 days later. Welcome. So today I actually learned that life's biggest joke often is delivered by people who claim to love you. But let me start from the get-go. After 2 days of sleepless nights and anxiety eat me alive, I finally decided to take Josh's advice and go through with the name change. It wasn't an easy decision. Do you know what it feels like to erase your identity just to survive? But it had to be done. Josh, my rock in all this madness, agreed it was the only way to move forward. Especially if I wanted to stay one step ahead of the circus my life has become. He suggested keeping it discreet, slipping it into the daily paper. Perfect. My family would not stumble upon it because, let's face it, they don't even know what newspapers look like. They're too busy to claw their way out of their latest self-inflicted disaster to care about what I'm up to. Or so I thought. Josh, he warned me, all right, that I might hear from a detective soon, and just to tie up loose ends, yeah. What a neat way to describe the tangled mess my family left behind for me to clean up. And guess what? True to his word, my phone rang. But it wasn't a detective, no, it was my mom. Her voice hit me like nails on a chalkboard, the nerve. After all the public fights, the humiliating scandals, and years of being treated like I was disposable, they disowned me. Now she needed me. She said it was a life or death matter, and that's rich coming from the woman who spent the last decade making me feel like a corpse at family dinners. She had the audacity to tell me that only Evelyn, my former self, the one I buried today, could save them because of her status. Let me be clear. Evelyn is gone. Evelyn doesn't play savior, and she certainly doesn't play games with people who threw her to the wolves. My mother did not even try to sugarcoat it. She didn't call because she cared. She called because I was their last shot. Their desperation was practically oozing through the phone, and it made me sick. I cut her off mid-sob story because I couldn't stand another second of her guilt tripping. You know, her theatrics. Why isn't Sasha calling me? I asked with my voice dripping with venom. She was the one who dragged you into this mess, wasn't she? Or is this golden child too busy sipping cocktails and pretending she's innocent? I couldn't help myself. The words flew out before I could stop it. Sasha, my favorite, the perfect daughter who could do no wrong until she did. Let me remind you, this is the same Sasha who orchestrated the whole drug fiasco that landed our family in the tabloids. Oh, but no one dared to blame her, not Sasha, the untouchable princess, and now they want me to fix it. The hypocrisy is enough to make me scream. I hung up before my mother could say another word. It felt good. Slamming the door in her face, metaphorically of course, but the satisfaction is always short-lived, it seems. As much as I want to believe I'm free of them, I know better. My family doesn't let go. They cling to you like a parasite, sucking the life out of you until there's nothing left. The funny thing is, I'm not even angry. I'm tired. Exhausted is a better word, really. It's like running a marathon with no finish line in sight, just endless hurdles and pit stops full of betrayal that don't end. And now, as I sit here writing this, I'm wondering if I've made the right choice. Should I have stayed on the phone? Should I have told my mother exactly what I think of her and Sasha and the entire circus they call a family? Or maybe I should have agreed to help just to watch them squirm when I demand repayment for every tear I've cried because of them. The thought is tempting, but I know better. Getting involved would mean stepping back into the world, and world I've fought tooth and nail to escape. Josh told me, lay low, keep my head down, and focus on building my new life, and you know what? He's right. Of course, he's always right. But my gut is telling me this isn't over. I can feel it. It's like a storm brewing on the horizon, and I can see it. Something's coming. I don't know if I'm ready or not, and the name change was supposed to be my fresh start, my chance to leave the past behind me, but it feels like has a chokehold on me, refusing to let go. Here I am, hoping for clarity, maybe a bit of advice. What would you do if you found out that you were in my shoes? Would you cut ties completely and let them drown in their own chaos? Or would you throw them a lifeline knowing they probably would use it to pull you under? I don't know. Update number 3, 2 days later. Like I said, blood is just as thick as water. At least that's what they say anyways, right? But I'm starting to believe that just another lie in society tells us to keep us tied to toxic people. Today my life took a nosedive straight into the pits of betrayal, scandal, fury, and yes, I'm writing this because I need advice again desperately. But don't come at me with, forgive them, they're family. Let me lay it all out for you, yeah? Detective Mason, the man who's been digging into my family's drug case for months now, he wanted to see me for some questioning. My heart sank faster than a rock in a quicksand. Of course, I wasn't going alone. Josh, bless his soul, said that he would come with me. At least one person in my life doesn't have a dagger aimed at my back. Just as I was mentally prepared for the NDLEA office shutdown, my phone rang. Sasha. Ugh. My sister, the one person who could just make me want to throw my phone out the window and into oncoming traffic, she was screaming, demanding actually that I save them from whatever mess they got into. I swear my first instinct was to laugh. Save them from what, themselves? I asked her if she was okay, not out of concern, but because I need to hear her admit how far she'd fallen. Oh boy, did she hit rock bottom. She had the audacity, and I say audacity because she insulted me, saying that I was still the skinny little nobody that I used to be. Like, excuse me, skinny or not, I've built my life brick by brick, clawing my way out of the cesspool they call this family, and she has no rights. I laughed. I laughed. But not from humor of a comedy show, of sheer disbelief, the gall of this woman. But before I could get another word in, my mother snatches the phone, and that's when the nightmare truly began. My mom, the woman who gave birth to me, actually blackmailed me right over the phone. She said if I did not represent them in the drug case, they would tell the authorities that the drugs were mine. Mine. The drugs that ruined their lives, destroyed our family, and turned them into the hollow shells of people that I barely recognize. Yeah. At first, I thought that I just misheard them, you know? Surely, even she would not stoop that low, right? Well, wrong is always the answer. Dead wrong is what I should say. She doubled down, saying that's how I've managed to become so successful. I've worked my butt off for everything I have. Sleepless nights, endless hustles, and sacrifices they cannot even begin to comprehend. And she wants to take that away from me. I'll admit it, for a split second, her words got to me. What if people believed her? What if the lie spread like wildfire, consuming everything I've built? But then her anger kicked in, pure unfiltered rage. A leopard doesn't change its spots. And my mother is no exception. She's always been a manipulator, a puppet master pulling strings to suit her agenda. I snapped right then and there, called her, I swore that she, my father, and Sasha would rot in jail, and if they want to play dirty, they've got the wrong opponents. Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing, I'm scared. Not of them, I could crush them like the cockroaches that they are, but of the damage that they might cause. The public fights, its scandals, the whispers behind closed doors, I can already see the headlines. Evelyn accused, a family drug ring scandal. Gosh, I can't handle this. Well, to make matters worse, Josh overheard part of the call and gave me that look. The one that said, "Are you okay?" Without actually saying it, and no, I'm not okay. Not even close. As I write this, I'm sitting in my car outside the NDLEA. My hand shaking like a leaf, and I have not gone in yet because I don't know what Mason wants from me. What if my mother and Sasha have already started their smear campaign? What if this isn't just a questioning, session, but the beginning of the end for me? I can't even focus on one thought for more than a second. Should I confront them again? Should I just cut ties and let them burn? Or should I fight fire with fire and expose them for the liars that they are? I'll get back to ya. Update number 4, 3 weeks later. Brace yourselves, people, because this has been one hell of a ride. You know me, Evelyn, the unapologetic, take-no-prisoners lawyer who isn't afraid to stir the pot when needed. Well, buckle up, because this update is dripping with scandal, courtroom drama, and a little bit of sweet revenge. It all started 3 weeks ago when Detective Mason, an officer handling my family drug case, reached out for a meeting. Naturally, I walked in prepared to defend myself against whatever lies my family cooked up this time. After all, these people would sell their souls for a quick buck. I changed my surname for a reason, didn't I? But what Mason said completely floored me. Apparently, my family had the audacity to tell him that I was the mastermind behind their drug escapades. Yep, they claimed that I'd instructed them to get the drugs and sell them. Conveniently, framing me for their crime? Well, can you imagine the nerve? I was already gearing up to fight for my life when Mason, bless his sharp detective instincts, told me that he knew that they were lying. He said, and I quote, "Because this deserves to be engraved in gold. You're a respectable lawyer, Evelyn, and I want to know if you would like to sue them for defamation." Oh, well, I was shocked. I nearly lost my composure, not that I'd ever let it show. Me suing my family for defamation? Oh, the irony. But you better believe I said yes, and not just any yes. I wanted $1 million out of their lying, conniving hides. Mason seemed pleased, and honestly, so was I. So that evening, I told Josh about it. Maybe it was the adrenaline, maybe it was the euphoria finally getting on over my family, but we kissed. And let me tell you, it was everything. The perfect ending, yeah, to a day that had gone from potential disaster to outright triumph. The days that followed were full of court sessions, trials. Watching my family squirm because of their crimes was nothing short of justice. Their drug trafficking and smuggling op was laid bare for the world to see, and the media had a field day. My name was tagged in every headline, every article. I didn't care. I had bigger fish to fry. The day of my defamation case finally came. Oh, I made sure to dress the part, a curve, hugging number that screamed power and confidence. When I walked into the courtroom, all eyes were indeed on me. And boy, did I enjoy it. My family's jaw practically hit the floor when they saw me. Sasha, my dear sister, recognized Josh, my man, sitting comfortably by my side. The trial was glorious. Sasha was sentenced to 10 years in prison, while my parents each got 5 years for being an accomplice. Yeah, and since they couldn't cough up the $1 million compensation that they now owe me, and since, they couldn't do that, the judge added the extra 3 years to their sentence just like that. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. They were dragged away in tears, with Sasha begging me for forgiveness. Forgiveness? From me? Over my body.